everyone, still on vacation this week, but I wanted to release a video talking about something I've been thinking about a lot. Bungie has told us a little bit about what's in the final shape, and a lot of people in the community are talking about what they're most excited for and that sort of thing, but I kind of want to flip that on its head. There are a lot of things that Bungie has not talked about that I'm hoping that they are playing like close to their chest. But I want to talk about 5 things that this DLC really needs to do in order to be that like Forsaken level that Bungie has already said that they want to achieve with the Final Shape DLC. And so that's what I'm going to do. If I don't cover any of your points, let me know what you are hoping to see out of this DLC down in the comment section below. So number 5, I'm really hoping that the Final Shape is not just nostalgia bait. And I feel like, we've started to see a lot of things that maybe aren't nostalgia bait. The introduction of like the dread, for instance, I think is a great example of introducing new things into the game, unexpected things. And I think if the original reveal of the final shape has taught us anything, it's that like nostalgia bait really isn't as powerful at this time in Destiny's life cycle compared to maybe other times or what people would have expected. The reintroduction of Cade, I haven't really seen anyone who's like really that excited about that. Going into the Traveler, which is like a joke from like, year 1 of Destiny 1. These sorts of things just don't seem to really be hitting the same way that I would have expected. And I'm really hoping that Final Shape really can stand on its own with brand new, unexpected content and really wow us with things that we're not expecting to see based off of jokes or references to, the history of Destiny. So we know the Pale Heart's going to be comprised of a lot of different patrol zones and stuff that we've already been to throughout the history of Destiny or just areas. But I'm hoping the campaign is not just like rehashed storylines. I'm hoping our confrontation with the Witness isn't just rehashed storylines. And going forward past the campaign, I'm really hoping that we're not just relying on the same old tropes. So that's kind of one of the things that I'm really looking forward to. I want Final Shape to have its own identity that's not just this is everything that you've done put together in maybe not really cohesive way, right? I think the best example of that would be like Call of Duty Zombies map Revelations was just doing a lot of things to be a lot of different maps throughout the history of Call of Duty, and maybe didn't do enough to stand on its own as its own map. And I'm just hoping Final Shape is not really that for Destiny. Number 4, sort of Final Shape, but sort of the Year of Final Shape episodes. Bungie has been pitching the episodes as, more in-depth cinematic seasons. And, with every episodes, we're going to get kind of 3 content drops every 6 weeks. And I'm really interested to see what these look like. I'm hoping the episodes truly do feel kind of revolutionary. I expect them, hopefully, to feel more like mini DLCs, like Warmind or Curse of Osiris, versus a season. And maybe the fact that they're sticking with a narrative for longer and a certain design and aesthetic palette for longer, I'm really hoping that allows them to spend more time developing activities and secrets and missions that feel a lot more in depth than a lot of the kind of very surface level stuff that we get to do in seasons nowadays. And I'm really hoping it allows them to dive into the narrative a lot more, because I think especially this year with Season of the Deep, Wish, and Witch, the narrative has probably been the weakest part pretty consistently, and I'm really hoping this just allows them to have more time to really go in and dig into the different parts of the game. The third one is going to be, I am really hoping that they are keeping a lot of secrets. I think one of the coolest things about Forsaken is we didn't really know that much about the Dreaming City. We knew it existed, we knew there was some sort of cycle mechanic, but we didn't really know that much. And so when we, beat the campaign and accessed it, it was a really big surprise when the raid was beaten and then the cycle started and then the dungeon launched, which was completely unknown. We got all these exotic quests and all these secrets in the rotating week of the Dreaming City. These were all surprises, and it really took Forsaken from a pretty good DLC to a great DLC. And I'm hoping that Final Shape has a lot of these sorts of things. I feel like a lot of like the secret missions and the community events recently have either been complete misses or really, hedging on that more nostalgia bait. And I would love to see more secrets in the game that are, you know, of Whisper tier, of 0 Hour tier, of Niobe Labs tier, that aren't just those missions rehashed, regurgitated into the game. I think it's about time that we start making new epic quests and missions and things within Destiny, and I'm hoping Final Shape starts to bring a lot of those things. Number 2, it has to do with the Dread. I think the Dread are part of the reveal that, maybe the biggest part of the reveal that has really taken me by surprise. I really hope the Dread are added to different parts of the game, and I feel like that could really freshen up a lot of old activities. You know, Onslaught with Dread would be really cool. They're already talking about adding the Light-Bearing Hive and the Shadow Cabal to Gambit. Why not the Dread as well? You know, that could be kind of interesting. And I think the biggest example of this for me would be Root of Nightmares. A lot of people really don't like Root of Nightmares. I think if you replaced all of the Cabal enemies with Dread enemies, I think that could be very interesting. Obviously, that's a lot of copium, but I think that's the biggest example of, like, you know, let's not let these enemies go to waste. Let's use it to refresh a lot of different aspects of the game. I would love to see something like that. And they're already starting to maybe tease some of this. The Blight public events, whenever you make them heroic, they're spawning Tormentors now. So already, and Tormentors are technically Dread, so already putting pieces of Dread into different parts of the game. I would just absolutely love that if they put them in some of the patrol zones, put them in some, like I said, like a raid or a strike here or there, and just started to freshen up the game. And that would help the game feel more alive too. And use our first true new enemy class in 4 or 5 years. So I think that would be really awesome. The number one thing I really want from Final Shape is going to be the raid. Just needs to be unbelievable. I really hope it's more than 4 encounters. And I would just love for it to be absolutely transformative in comparison to how we see raids nowadays. I really, 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 really want the Witness to be at least 2 encounters, if not 3. I think that'd be really cool. I've used this comparison before, but I am really thinking about the Witness encounters in my head, sort of like the Ganondorf encounters in Zelda Wind Waker, where, you know, you beat him once and then it gets unhinged and then he turns into like a giant snake thing, and then you beat him again and then it's like a different fight, and there's like multiple stages and it gets more and more unhinged as you go. We already know the Witness can break reality. We see that in the Lightfall, where it yells at Callus and it like cracks the, like, not like the air, like it's cracking reality. Just imagine, like, we roll up, you know, we beat like maybe a disciple, like a Grim disciple or something, a giant gunbat disciple. We roll up, first encounter is like a puzzle encounter, but it's technically us fighting the Witness. Kind of like a Descent in Deepstone, where like Taniks is there, but we're not really fighting Taniks. So like first encounter would be that with the Witness. And then it just gets, we beat that encounter. The Witness gets super pissed off and like starts to like warp reality. And then we push it to its final phase in the third Witness encounter, and it is just like LSD the raid. I'm talking Alice in Wonderland. The world is breaking, stuff is spawning and being ripped apart, and just like super nonsense psychedelic raid encounter, something like that. I just want this raid to absolutely knock us off of our feet in terms of like being completely unexpected, being longer than normal, being harder than normal. This, Joe Blackburn has already, you know, said this like 6 months ago, but they know that this needs to be a very, very hard raid. At least the Witness encounter needs to be harder than Valkor, for instance, I believe is the exact reference he used. And I think like most important for me as an endgame player, I really want to walk out of whatever the raid is called just floored and in complete and utter disbelief. And I can't wait for that. I'm very excited to experience that. So these are just some things I was thinking about. Let me know what you are most excited for or hoping for in the Final Shape. What has Bungie not talked about that you really hope is part of the DLC or the year of the Final Shape? I'm really interested to hear your thoughts. Yeah, thank you guys so much, and I'll see you next time. Peace.